Okay. Welcome, one and all, to yet another episode of Wick TV. It's a cross-ideological space where we come together to talk about issues both political and cultural, from the silly to the serious. And today we have quite the debate for you. We're going to be talking about whether or not ICE, as it's currently operating, is a necessary evil. Regardless of whether you think what ICE is doing is inappropriate or bad, does their actions become justified in the need to deport people to secure our borders? We're going to talk about it. We got some lovely guests to talk about it with, and I'm happy to have them on here. First of all, $10 from Pondering Politics before we give the mic to them. This says
Josiah,
before the debate begins, ask Hunter if he agrees the rise of Skywalker is a necessary evil
it's
for Star
always
Wars
about
canon.
that. It's always about that, isn't it?
Answer the question.
It's not, okay? Rise of Skywalker sucks. Have you heard Josiah's opinion about it? He thinks it's the best of the
Look, I
sequels.
know his opinion on Star Wars, and
It's terrible. It's like, how do you not have the idea that Rise of Skywalker is obviously the worst Star Wars movie literally ever?
but
It's like,
regardless of that, we won't get sucked down that rabbit hole, if you
I
will.
yell at him all the time, so
Yeah.
every
Look,
time
that's
he
the
sees
most
me,
base
it makes
thing
it
I've
about
heard all
Rise of
week
Skywalker. From me or Josiah?
from you. Oh yeah, that
Okay,
movie
good.
sucks.
All right.
Okay,
Okay, great.
great, excellent. They both have aligned themselves against the
Yeah,
greater
we're
cause.
already,
Modern
yeah,
politics is
exactly.
media takes. Okay,
The real evil.
we're gonna give the mic first to Hunter Kozak, to
Yo,
tell us why ICE is not a necessary evil.
sure. So the first thing that I want to talk about is Donald Trump's main campaign promises were that he was going to deport violent criminals. I would say that there are two there's a lot of issues with this claim. The first being that the data kind of differs on the exact number, but the number is about 44%. I've seen estimates of 70% of detainees arrested by ICE that don't even have a criminal conviction. Those who have criminal convictions were nonviolent. This is largely due to the fact that if you are a violent criminal, you're going to be swept up in the court system, um, and serve your time and then be deported. And we don't need ICE going out into courthouses, into schoolyards, into people trying to do it the lawful way. There are two. I will say I'm not necessarily in favor of the full abolition of ICE, or if there is an abolition of ICE, I would say that there are some responsibilities that should be distributed to other agencies. The big one is once these violent criminals uh, serve their sentence, they get deported by ICE. So that still is a good thing. I'm largely in favor of that. There are actually, I can get into it, but there are some reasons as to why we want them here in the United States to serve out their sentences. So I'm happy to defend that. But largely speaking, this has been a violent tour de force that has gone into mostly Democrat cities because of Trump's uh, political agenda and murdering citizens on the streets, going door to door like Gestapo agents. I am not in favor of the way that ICE has been operating under Trump, and I would suggest that we have a full scale down of uh, ICE writ large.
Okay, well, thank you for being here. I'm sure we will get into it as we go. And I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
hand the mic to MidwestMonkey. Go ahead.
Awesome, thank you. Pretty much, I'm just gonna sit on the side of ICE being a necessary evil, regardless of how I think.
You muted yourself.
Oh,
I don't know if you did that on accident. I didn't do it, gang.
No, baby boy hit the keyboard, but I'm more on the side of it being a necessary evil, just in the fact of, regardless of, oh, let's say 70-80% were nonviolent criminals, and I'm not too sure where people get the idea that just because someone gets arrested on a violent crime and they're illegal, that those courts actually contact ICE. That's actually one of the things that they went to Minnesota for during all the riots and everything, was to try to cut a deal to where they could take immigrants from jails as they were being released, or even if they were getting sentenced in courts. But yeah, I think regardless of how you feel about the mistakes ICE has made and the actions of their officers, I think it's a very necessary organization. And I think that not just, we always forget why ICE was created, which was a department of the DHS after 9/11 to try to take care of homeland security threats.
Okay. Is that it for your opening statement?
Yep, that's it. Nice
Okay.
and simple, baby.
Fair enough. I'm going to open up the floor. If I have questions for you both, I will ask them. $5 from my listening library to kind of start us off. To say YouTube will not allow me to say what I want about ICE. ICE is a terrorist organization run by the president of the U.S. $5 gang. Go ahead.
Okay, so first and foremost, your the real thing that you want ICE to do is to deport people who've already served their time. But you acknowledge that the main function of ICE recently has been to operate within states, going door to door, or going into schoolyards, or going into courthouses, right?
Well, I would
Or do you
disagree
not
with the
concede that?
initial premise too. I think ICE should deport illegal immigrants, regardless of whether they've committed crimes or not.
Okay, sure, but I'm just trying to draw a distinction between the two. Do you largely, because I'm trying to draw a distinction between whether or not they've committed a crime or whether they haven't. I'm saying that it's largely a good thing that ICE deports violent criminals after they've already they've already committed their time in prison. But that's not what ICE is doing right now in Minnesota. They're going door to door in courtyards. So I'd like to defend those actions specifically because that's the one that I think that most people have an issue with. Most people draw ire from. Um, yeah, I specifically am frustrated with.
Yeah, and as far as so out of the numbers that we're seeing, how many deportations are you saying is just them on the streets just picking people up or going door to door?
It's a it's a small proportion. It's really difficult to pick up illegal immigrants going door to
Right.
door, but that's kind of that's why it's such a that's why I'm so critical of it is because it's not even effective. It's not even a necessary evil, right? It's just an evil that they're
Well,
doing.
I think there's contention to be had there as to whether, like, although I wouldn't say that I should just go and pick people up off the street if
Okay.
that's how they're running their operations, unless they do something like against someone's civil rights or anything like that. I don't see what the problem would be.
Well, I do think that it's against their civil rights specifically. Would you not? Going into like okay, here I'll give some more specific examples. There were a couple cases that I looked into where let me pull this out here. Let me just give some examples here. This is not
Okay.
what specifically what I was going to go through, but the deportation force arrested a father dropping off their citizen children at school, snatched a mother off a public street, leaving her 3 citizen children alone, and detained those married to citizens who showed up at their green card interviews. So if we're talking about people doing it the legal way, if we want to encourage people who are going through the process in if we want to encourage legal immigration, it doesn't seem like that's what we're encouraging when we're arresting people at a courtyard and it also or sorry in the courthouse, and it also doesn't seem really beneficial to public safety to just leave children alone on the street, especially when illegal immigrants commit far more violent acts than their citizen counterparts.
Yeah, see, and that's where I'm gonna have contention because say, you gave the example of, oh, someone was dropping off their citizen children. Like, are you
Mhm.
just against deporting anyone who has legal children in the States then?
I would largely be in favor of a naturalization process. I would obviously say that illegal immigrants shouldn't. I'm going to put this in huge quotes. You can clip it if you want. Um, Illegal immigrants shouldn't be here for sure. It makes it really difficult for a number of different reasons to keep programs in the
And you
United
don't think
States or census programs.
naturalization of the
I think
people who came here
naturalization.
illegally would make it more incentivize more of that?
I think immigration is a good thing. Certainly.
No,
No,
so
illegal
maybe
immigration.
I can translate a little bit. So what he's asking you, Hunter, is
Mhm.
if we provide kind of like amnesty or a naturalization process for the people
Oh,
who've been in here
it would
for
encourage more illegal immigration.
yes.
Sure. I would probably concede that case. But I would say that on the flip side, if we deport such like I mean, we have oh shoot, I should have had the numbers of how many illegal immigrants currently live in America right now.
That's tens of millions, yeah.
Yeah, like 15 million or so. 10 to 15 million. Seems
Yeah.
like the data suggests. If we're deporting 15 million people, we're going to have huge economic downturns that I don't think, like, you could either incentivize people coming here illegally, or essentially have um a massive depression on your hands due to the amount
Oh,
of
and that
economic
would be my
activity that
next
just completely
question is
disappears.
I've seen the numbers on what it does for the economy and like how
Hmm.
it increases our GDP, but you don't think that there's any other metrics we can look at
Like
when it
what?
comes to how they affect the economy, like when it comes to wage stagnation and the companies getting away with paying them
Oh,
essentially
fully,
slave labor. Yeah.
Let him
a
finish, please.
million percent. Oh, sorry. Do you have more
Oh,
to say?
yeah. Are you done?
Yeah, he can go ahead.
Okay.
A million percent. I fully agree that there is a huge amount of wage stagnation. In fact, when we look at human trafficking, I know that seems like a weird place to go, but a lot of experts define human trafficking with people like employers pulling illegal immigrants and holding their green cards above them and forcing them
Oh
to
yeah.
live in some pretty horrific circumstances. Um, because they're there illegally and they can't go to police forces. This is one of the big reasons why I'm against illegal. I don't think that people should be here illegally, but I think that naturalization fixes all of those issues. When we talk about wage
Let
stagnation,
me ask
it's
you
because
this
they're
real quick.
using, yeah.
So if it comes down to, well, there's going to be an economic hit if we were to deport all these people. Do you think
Hmm.
some people might be willing? You think it might be good to take that hit in order to prevent corporations and not just corporations taking advantage of slave labor for their jobs, but the cartels who are extorting some of these people and all the other things that come with it? Do you think that the economy hit is going to be that much worse than what we have to deal with now?
Hold on. When we talk about the cartel specifically, there are a lot of if we like let's look at MS-13 as one of the most egregious examples. 70% of the people who have been picked up by the cartels were US citizens. So like deporting illegal immigrants isn't going to fix the cartels issue. What would
Well,
fix the
does it
cartels
fix the
issue is
you
supporting
don't
local
think that there's people that they're extorting right now who are illegal?
What do you mean extorting? How would they be extorting that?
They bring them over the border, and then for that, they'll have safe houses essentially that they can put them into, like, "Hey, you're over the border now. Here's where you're gonna
Mhm.
live, and we can actually help you find work, and it's you're paying me a weekly amount or violence or whatever we have to do to get you to pay us. What are you gonna do? Call the cops?"
Okay, I guess my question is how do all of these issues don't just get immediately fixed by naturalizing these citizens? Or not
Well,
these
you don't
citizens,
wanna
these people?
naturalize because you might incentivize more people to come here illegally.
Sure, but okay, so here, a couple things that I wanna talk about. Firstly, I have a question for you. Are you in favor of massively decreasing the amount of time that it takes to become a US citizen? I mean,
Massively
I think on
decreasing the
average, it
amount.
takes like 8 to 10 years, and asylum statuses are often denied. Do
Right,
you think that that's
so
a bad
they
thing that might also incentivize illegal immigration?
Well, I think that definitely incentivizes illegal immigration, but I also think there's other problems that go into the time it takes in order to get your citizenship because immigration courts, even before the most recent wave of immigrants, were already drowning and we didn't have enough people to process it. I don't think there's like a law or a statute that's saying, oh, you have to wait 8 years. I think the courts are
No,
just
of
so
course not.
overwhelmed.
I no,
Exactly.
fully agree, but it's also it's a huge burden, administrative burden, to require so many steps in the immigration process. That's a lot of the reason why they're so overburdened. I'm gonna
Well,
look
yeah, so,
at
like, take my aunt, for example. My aunt married my uncle. He was
uh
a Marine over in, the Philippines. She's been in the States for 40 years, but she was scared to get her citizenship. She could have got it at any time, and I know plenty of other, immigrants who they could be legal, they were scared to take the test for whatever reason, but I still don't think just because it's backed up with the amount of people who are trying to become citizens, that means, like, okay, well, in order to solve that problem, we'll just naturalize all these people who are already here in
Can I
order to
ask
solve
you?
that problem and create others.
Yeah, can I ask you a question, Mr. Monkey?
Absolutely.
Would you be in favor of ICE deporting your aunt? She's been in the country what, 40 years now,
Yeah, 40 years now.
and she's
If
not a
she got
citizen?
caught up by ICE and she got deported, yeah, that would be on her. Trust me, me and her sons have talked to her for years about getting it done.
Okay, fair enough.
okay. W- Do you not feel like I understand this idea of like rigorously holding to like the laws of the country. But I guess what I'm saying is your aunt, and I know a couple of illegal immigrants as well. They have a pretty vested interest in staying in America. They're not. I mean,
Yeah,
like
of
it
course, who
depends on
doesn't?
the. Of course. So I guess my question is, if they're contributing to the economy, like why wouldn't you want them to be here? It seems like a specific net good. And you're like, well, it might encourage more illegal immigration. I might bite that bullet and I would say I want more immigrants coming here. And I don't want them here illegally, but again, naturalization and a softening of
Can
the
I yeah. Can I ask you
administrative burden.
a question on that, Hunter? Then,
Yeah.
is there an amount where you would say, okay, this is far too much, and we do need to stop encouraging these things? So, there's what
Yeah,
10 to
likely.
15 now. What if it was if we tripled that and we had 40 or 50 million?
Well, I would
Right.
I would reject the premise of your question because I would always encourage a naturalization process. So if we
So
have
even if we
45
had
million
50
illegal,
million and you knew it would encourage double the amount coming in, right? You knew like, okay, if we
oh,
give
okay,
amnesty,
okay.
right?
You were saying if we provide amnesty for half of that, so it goes down to 25 million, but then 50 million people more
Because
come in,
they
and then it just grows
realize
to
that if I
75
get in
million.
here, I have a chance to stay in here. We're going to get amnesty if I can just avoid the law long enough.
I would
I
be
will stay
okay.
here.
I'll say if that is the case, and it simply just grows it simply just grows the number over and over and over again. Where because I see that there would have to be a stopping point. It wouldn't just necessarily grow. But I would say if that's the case, which I don't think that there are any stats or um, I don't think that the data supports that
Well,
idea.
the
I would say that
argument
then
would
that would be
be,
that would be bad.
yeah, the argument would be Reagan did this back in the 80s, right? He provided
Yeah.
amnesty to all the illegal immigrants who were currently in the country. And
Mhm.
that simply encouraged more people to show up in case a U.S. president would do that again.
Of course, but then the question is, how many are we then able to provide amnesty for? So it might
Well, here,
continue
and
to
let me ask
encourage that
this real
process.
quick. So,
Yeah.
what, how many negative side effects of this illegal immigration would you be willing to put the rest of the populace through in order to have a better economy? So,
How
say, like,
many? It
from the
would
numbers
certainly
I've seen, so
yeah.
the numbers
Go
I've
ahead, sorry.
seen is like 26 to 31% of the 393,000 that got over the last year, January 21st to 25 to 26,
Mhm.
26 to 31% had records from sexual assault, assault on a spouse, like domestic stuff. Like how,
Hold on.
how
You're saying 30% of who?
26 to 31% of the
Sure, we'll call it 30%.
393,000. Yeah,
393,000. Who are the
Oh,
illegal
393,000
that
what?
immigrants
ICE picked up
that
and
we
deported.
that we can that we detained. Yeah.
Are sexual I would question your stats. I would say if that were the case, I would probably say that that is an issue and we should probably start handling that issue, but that is just certainly not the case.
Well, no,
From
not just
every
sexual assault, from simple assault, sexual assault, battery of a spouse, anything like that.
every single data that I've been or every single stat that I've looked up uh on this specific topic has said that the 30% is not as is criminal convictions, but the vast majority of those criminal convictions are um like traffic stop violations or smoking weed or something of the sort.
Y-
I've seen every single violent attack has been less than 1% of the people that ICE has picked up. And this is largely because if there is a violent attack, it's going to be picked up by the police officers, not ICE.
Yeah, and then and you said that earlier during your opening statement. Are you aware that there
Mhm.
are states who are refusing to turn over illegal immigrants to ICE even after they've been released for a violent crime?
Sure, but they have also served their time.
So, but are you okay with that? You're okay with somebody committing a violent act against an American citizen and then being released,
I
not
would
given over to
probably say
ICE?
that that's bad. I'd probably say that that's bad, and that's part of the function of ICE that I largely am in favor of.
Okay,
Right?
so
Like I think
yeah, just
I,
so
I
I'm sorry to interrupt, but we do have data on the convictions and how many are convicted of various crimes. I'm going to share that
I have some stats here too. If I don't know if they're going to be, but I definitely have that 1% stat.
if you
But
guys
go
want
ahead.
to just, if you'll turn to the prompter, okay, and watch my little screen share here. Hopefully, it's big enough. Can I make it bigger? No, I can't. But we could see about less than 14% have convicted of violent crimes. We got 0.1% for arson, 0.3% for kidnapping. Sexual assaults only at 1.4%. DWIs, DUIs are 7.6%. Assaults pretty high, 10.9%. But all in all, the domestic violence and all these things are about 14% of convictions. 30% is for other crimes, and then the rest just have civil immigration violations only. So to MidwestMonkey, given that these are the stats that we have, at least since Trump's gotten into office, right? Do you think still that ICE going after these people and the mistakes that they're making is still worth getting these guys?
Yeah, I would say that the mistakes aren't just on ICE; it's also on local government and stuff like that, like encouraging the violence.
Say that one more time. I missed it.
Here, sorry, give me 1 second, gentlemen. Go ahead and talk for a sec.
Oh, probably family things. Okay, but Staxiums, I guess,
Yeah.
or Hunter. I'm sorry, didn't mean to.
It's all good.
Don't mean to dead name you. Okay.
Dead name me.
Yes.
Yeah, true. Watch it, bro.
So we do have
That's
about 14% have been convicted of violent crimes. And to his point, there are some sanctuary counties and sanctuary cities who do not cooperate with ICE in when they have a criminal that they've convicted that served their time that gets released in the streets. They don't share that information with ICE.
Right. I've conceded. I think I'm largely okay with that. If ICE's only function is to deport violent criminals who've already served their time back to their home country, there's no issue. I don't think most people are going to have an issue.
Everyone who's here illegally, though, right?
Right. Exactly. That's the main issue that I have with them.
And you think they shouldn't?
I think they've gone to some pretty extreme tactics. Certainly.
Yeah, I completely understand. And what I would say to that is, like, especially with like the murders that happened in Minneapolis and the stuff that's gone on, is it's hard as a law enforcement agent to do your duty and not have any mistakes when there's literally people preventing you from doing your job and trying to do whatever they can to prevent you from doing it.
Yeah, but don't you understand also that probably the hiring practices that ICE is currently undergoing is like probably fair to scrutinize, especially because they haven't been. There's been a number of different journalists who have clarified that you don't need a background check to serve in ICE. Like,
Yeah,
it
I just
seems
haven't
like
seen any of that data bear out into like, oh, this officer that was newly hired did this horrible thing. Like even in the shootings, the officers that were involved in those were like 5-year vets. So I haven't seen like you can be skeptical or scrutinize it, but I haven't seen anything where it's like, here's these rookie officers who are completely messing things up. Like I just haven't seen that bear out.
I don't think I'm talking about rookie officers. I think I'm worried about people. I mean, we're talking about issues with violent assault or sexual assault. It seems like if we're so worried about sexual assault, why are we not worried about people who have been convicted of sexual assault getting getting hired by the U.S. government, strapped with weapons, and then sent out in the streets of cities?
So how many officers do you think have been hired that have something like that in their past?
I would have no clue, but I know there aren't guardrails against it. That's what I'm concerned about. Why can't we have guardrails? Wouldn't we both just be able to say we obviously
hold on one at a time. I appreciate the energy, guys, and you guys are being respectful of one another, but you guys talk over each other a lot. So I want to make sure that you guys get
go
a
ahead,
chance.
Hunter. You go
I
ahead.
want to give it to Monkey. Monkey, finish your thought, and then we'll give it to Hunter. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think
I would just say that like when it it's perfectly fine to scrutinize the hiring practices and wonder where those guardrails are. As far as what I've seen, like substantiated in any way, is there have been officers. There was the one officer that got through that the journalist found that had it was either a sexual assault or something in his past. But obviously you hire any officer like that, immediately fire them. Whoever hired them should probably be fired too. But I don't see that as a reason to not let ICE function.
Well, sorry, we're specifically talking about the way that ICE functions currently and whether or not it's bypassing the necessary duties that it exists in the country. And I think that having a background check is grounds for one of those Like, I think that that's a fair thing to ask for ICE agents, no?
Yeah, and I
They
think
get
they're
hired
supposed
without
to.
background checks, just period.
Yeah,
Like it
if someone's hiring without background checks in
No,
ICE, the organization
you're
of
saying
ICE, they
someone.
should be
The
fired.
entire organization is not hiring, is not checking their background.
The entire organization isn't checking. No one's checking
Yeah,
backgrounds
so
in ICE.
just to let you know, Monkey, the accusation that Hunter is making is that they have done away with the need for background checks in the hiring process in order to get more people
To
in there.
expedite.
That
Yeah.
Trump and has decided by policy that they need more ICE agents to get to the mass deportations that they promised. So what Hunter here is accusing is that they've done away with background checks in order to get as many people as they possibly can.
Yeah, I understand. I just haven't seen it substantiated that they're just hiring without doing background checks. Like I've
You want some
seen
sources on
one
that?
that got through. Yeah.
So when we talk about one that got through, just to be super clear, it wasn't that um, we found ICE agents who were sexual assault victims, or sorry, sexual assault perpetrators. But rather, there were a number of different journalists who attempted to get
Who
hired
found
by
the one
ICE.
guy?
No, no,
Yeah.
no, no, no. Who attempted to get hired by ICE, who had a number, like they didn't even do a simple Google check of this person. Like that's how poor their background checks were. There was a journalist named Laura Jadid who, like, if you look up her name, she's like an anti-ICE advocate. And she got hired without even confirming, or like she got asked to do a drug test, but she had smoked pot like the day before, and she still got hired nonetheless. It
Okay, but
seems
she
like
didn't have
all
a
of
criminal background?
no, but they didn't even bother Googling her name.
Well, I don't care if they Google, but did they do a background check? Like, should they not hire someone if they're too lefty and don't like ICE? Should they not hire them as an agent or what?
I think if I think that if an anti-ICE journalist applies for ICE, I think that it's fair to say the guardrail should probably recognize that that person shouldn't get hired. I think that
What
that
would be
is
wrong with hiring
probably
someone who's
indicative.
against ICE? Wouldn't you want to bring him on to show him what you guys are doing? Or do you think it's like, oh, it's
Okay,
subterfuge. If you hire this person, they're going to take ICE down? Like what?
obviously that person is attempting to discredit your organization. You probably
Okay,
don't
let them
want to
try.
hire them.
Why not?
Okay. 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 There was no recognition for what she was.
Yeah, I don't
And
see how that matters at all.
this also displaces whatever. This displaces the main argument, which is that they don't have background checks.
Yeah, I just haven't seen that substantiated. I've seen that there's been some that have come through, but I haven't seen it demonstrated that, oh, they just don't do background checks anymore and they just hire whoever.
Okay. Um okay, I'll send you a couple sources. Um but okay, so all right, let's take this one by one. Are you in support of ICE going door to door on citizens' homes and asking if they have asking to see people's paperwork
Yeah.
in their homes? Do you think that violates any civilian rights that we might
Well,
have?
I'm not sure if them knocking on your door and asking if, like, because I know that cops can come to your door and you can just not open your door for them either. So I'm not too sure if them knocking on your door is like a
100%.
civil infraction.
Sorry, just to be super clear, um, there are a number of different videos of ICE agents knocking on their door and without anyone answering, knock down the door and drag people out
Yeah,
without a
I'm sure
warrant.
I would say it's illegal as shit. They should be fucking prosecuted for that. Yeah.
Okay, totally, totally. But do you not feel like, especially when it comes to like I totally get you saying, hey, they should be prosecuted, but specifically with the way that Nome and Trump have authorized people just shooting citizens and essentially like carte
What do you
blanche.
mean?
Okay. Nome declared Renee Good a terrorist like 3 hours after she was murdered.
Yeah, and I would say that's retarded, but I would also say that the Renee Good shooting wasn't just some random act of violence on ISIS part.
Random is doing a lot of legwork there. Do you not think that Nome and Trump are
Heard
providing immunity?
no, because I'm pretty sure that they were being investigated afterwards. No.
Is there any ICE agent that's under a decent amount of scrutiny from the federal government?
Yeah, and the guys who just got caught lying and had their case thrown out, they're being investigated for perjury right now.
Okay, I don't know about that. Which one? Wait,
So what
wait.
he's
Under
talking
the
about,
federal government, just to be clear.
yeah, what he's talking about is that there was a story. I think it took place the same day or maybe the day after the Renee Good shooting, where
Yeah, it's
two
like day
agents
after.
or agents claimed that a bunch of Venezuelans came out and started beating with their shovels, and they shot one of them in the leg because they were being beat with shovels, and that was the claim. The court recently dismissed the case because it turns out that the agents lied about what happened, and they are being investigated for perjury for lying. So those agents,
Sure.
yeah,
But I think
that's what he's
And
referring to.
is there anything where it shows like, oh, the Renee Good shooters, like there's no investigation? In fact, they're going out of their way to protect these people from any kind of investigation or anything like that, or what?
So I would draw a firm distinction between Kristi Noem and like local judges, if that makes sense,
Of
and local
course.
prosecutors. Um, I think that local prosecutors are largely trying to indict as many of these ICE agents as they can, or as many as they find reasonable. But Kristi Noem, as far as I'm aware, has not fired a decent, like as far as I'm aware, any ICE agents, and have provided cover for shooters without looking at the firm details. They're calling Renee Good a terrorist in support of the ICE agent that shot her. To
Oh yeah, and
me,
trust me, I don't like that at all. It reminds me of the same thing where it's like during the Bush administration where anyone who wasn't for the war in Iraq was a terrorist, blah, blah, blah,
sure.
blah. I think it's bad language on her part. And in fact, I think she'd be fired from her job. Her saying, oh, it's a terrorist because she was trying to impede ICE from doing their job, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's retarded. I don't like what she said either. But to sit
Okay,
around and
so
say that they're just murdering people, I think is a stretch. And not only just
okay, do we want to
murdering
get in?
people and then being defended for it.
Do we want to get into the Renee Good situation? Because as far as I'm aware, that's. I
Look,
mean,
detail by detail, I promise it's going to be like, oh, well, here's this ICE thing where it says they
yeah, I
shouldn't.
don't know if we want to
Yeah,
specifically do that. I think most people have seen the video and they've already made their decisions.
yeah, exactly. And when we
I
get
mean,
into
Wick,
the
what do you
details,
think?
we'll just quibble about that.
I guess can I
I
can I reset us a little bit because I think we're losing
sure.
track of the main, I guess, question of the day. Um, we're talking about whether or not what ICE is doing right now and the way that they're doing it is necessary, right? And it's built into the prompt that I think all of us here do not like many of the things that ICE is doing, right? MidwestMonkey has ceded that he does not like a lot of the ways that they're carrying out these things. But what he is here to defend and what you're here to counter is whether or not, regardless of these mistakes, it's still necessary to have this level of force to get rid of all these illegal immigrants that are in our streets and doing these things.
Yeah, and when
So I
we
want
get
to
into
reset
numbers
Sure,
and
the
I think
stuff
prompt.
it's
where it's like, yeah, and when we get into numbers and stuff where, oh, well, 73% no convict, like whenever it comes to any percentage we're going to throw out, it just comes down to like, say at the low end, we deport 20,000 people who were either going to hurt, rape, traffic, whatever. Is the 20,000 people in your eyes, is that not enough in order to justify ICE? Or what would you
what kind
say?
of. Am I crazy or what kind of thought crime bullshit is that? They're going to assault people? What do you mean they're going to assault
No, like
people?
if ICE didn't exist and they weren't there to take these people out of the country, what are you going to do about them? The people who are assaulting, the people who are trafficking.
Okay, so just to be super clear, if they're assaulting people, that's the local police's responsibility to monitor that issue and take them to the judicial
And they
system.
should be kicked
I'm
out of the
all in
country,
favor.
right?
There is largely speaking,
Right.
yes. Wait, hold on. That's a hard question to answer. And I know a lot of people are like, let's just deport them out of this country. Especially now, I will say that I'm probably going to draw a little bit of a distinction between like sexual assault or battery or like drug smugglers or
Or how about
like
even simple
MS-13
assault, just
agents. I
attacking
would say,
someone that's just
yeah.
sitting
Wait,
on
hold
the
on,
street?
Sure. I'd say probably deport those people, but when it comes to smugglers, there's a reason why we want to keep them here uh, under our prisons. And that's largely because if we deport them, Mexican prisons are a lot less rigorous than ours are. So it's very easy for them to slip away or to get like mediocre sentencing and then just come right back into the country. And then
I
we
think
pay
most
for
of the
them on the
people
back
we're
end.
catching
So
that are drug running is probably the peons at the bottom. Like most of the people we're catching that are in the drugs, it's going to be, oh, we're
I
paying this
agree.
peon to run it, But so holding the peons doesn't do anything. There will always be people who are poor and need the money, so they'll run the drugs.
Let me ask you,
But
Mr. Monkey, just real quick on this note. Do you support one of the things that ICE is doing is that they are deporting people before their court dates. So there was a case where one of the people was accused of participating in a $100 million jewelry heist. ICE allowed them to self-deport before they saw court. Do you not think that by having a system where if you were an illegal immigrant, you might not have to serve the time for the crimes that you do might be a bad thing?
Yeah, I think it could be a bad thing. I would just say that if he took the self-deport amnesty, because you got to remember, every prisoner that we house, we pay for medically,
yeah,
their
but
day-to-day food, everything. So it really depends on like, so he was involved in this heist. Should we have kept him? I could see it argued either way, but letting them self-deport, like,
So
what
you'd
is your
have no
argument that they're just
problem
going to
with
come
that.
back?
Okay, fair enough.
well, you look at the way that you're incentivizing crime, where essentially you can tell illegal immigrants, okay, well, you can commit whatever crime that you want. Once you get caught, we'll just deport you back to your country, and you go, perfect, a free ride home.
Well,
Like,
I
I'm
think
not
that's
going
a
to get.
stretch of an argument just because, like, oh, well, here's a case where this guy we let him self-deport instead of facing a case where he was, involved with fraud or something like that. Even though I might say personally, like, I would want them to stay here, do their time, and then get deported. If if there's a coordinated effort to increase the amount of deportations, like drastically, like the Trump administration is trying to do, I would need to see like, oh, well, here's these stats of like we deported these people who committed these crimes here, and then they just came back and did more crime. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. I don't know what stat you're even looking for there, though. Like, what stat? Like, what are you looking for? Recidivism rates for? Like,
For
I don't even
legals?
know how to track that specifically, but I will say that largely speaking, I think we can both agree that there's a distinct amount of Latin American countries who are far more lenient about certain crimes than we are. And so why would we leave it up to that country to determine their punishment?
Well,
Do you
no,
know what I'm saying?
if they do something here, we should punish them here. It's just
Dope. So we should
I
keep
would
them
have to
here in
see the
prison.
way. Right, but then we have the problem of courts letting these people out of their courts without telling ICE and letting them back on the streets, even though
Like
they're
I've
legal.
said, sorry, just to be super clear, I've conceded that point. I think that that's bad.
Yeah, so I think, but that's the thing is, you're like, would you commit to, well, this is them doing this is bad, and it's like, well, I could personally see how it's bad, but with the state of the country and how certain courts aren't participating and like giving ICE these criminals, I couldn't say for sure either way.
But why would you fix the issue that way? Like I totally
Let it
understand you
illegal.
looking at specific sanctuary. No, hold on. I totally understand you looking at some specific sanctuary cities and say you guys are going a little bit too far with your lax rules about illegal immigrants, where they're never turned over to deportation. I don't. I don't even know which states are specifically committing those issues, but I could certainly see that argument. But your answer then is we just need to bust down the doors of, like, I don't even like bust down the doors of citizens. We need to start detaining people whether or not they have papers. I'm looking at ICE's tactics, and I'm seeing like a really good example is the New Yorker did this profile on like 3 ICE facilities, and they found 170 US citizens there. How could you possibly call that a necessary evil? Wouldn't you be forced to say we should probably commit to detaining 100%, like, of the detainees that we have, 100% of them should be illegal immigrants?
Yeah, if it was a perfect system, absolutely. And I
Okay,
even think with the number that you gave, that
they
is far
have
too many citizens that are being detained under ICE, 100%. I would give you that. But when it comes to these number games of like, well, here are these citizens that were detained,
no, but
none
this
have
is a
been deported. Go
this is a
ahead.
product of of the tactics that you're defending. You can like I'm saying here are the tactics they're doing, and here are the results of those tactics, and you're like,
Yeah,
well, those
but you
results are
can't
bad, but I
quantify
agree
like
with the tactics.
how much
How
of
could
the arrests
you?
that they're doing are a result of these tactics. How often are these tactics being deployed? Because
But
you've given
you're
me
defending.
you've given me individual sites of this, and I would say, yeah, that's bad, absolutely. But ICE to be the necessary evil of ICE. I think it's far more evil
Just to be
to
super
let illegal
Let
immigrants
him finish.
commit crimes against our citizens than to, because you're always going to have a risk of false imprisonment, even in our current justice system. We do, but
sure, but that
we
should
say
be
that's wrong.
minimized.
We try to
No,
prevent that 100%, but you're not saying minimize. You're saying it should not
I
happen at
am
all,
saying
or else
minimized
ICE
because
is not that.
I'm looking at the way that Biden that ICE operated under Biden and even Trump's
When a
first
bunch
term,
of illegals
and we
came
didn't
in.
have these. Yeah, and we deported 4 million, or sorry, how many? Yeah, like 4 million people in his tenure.
Mm-hmm.
More than Trump did in his first term, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I think he did it in a far more um what's the word? Like non-barbaric way in which he would do enforcement returns. He still supported DACA. He didn't separate families at the border like Trump was obviously criticized for.
Yeah,
He
the
didn't
separating
attack.
families, I'd get separated from my son if I got drunk driving in my car. I'd get separated. So yeah, if you come here illegally, you're going to be separated from your family.
Just to be super clear, both of them were detained and they were separated nonetheless.
Both of who was it? What?
Both the child and the parent were detained.
Right.
Okay, hold on.
Was
Hold
the
on.
child
Hold on.
illegal too? Like, what are you saying?
The child was deported without his parent. If you got convicted of drunk driving and you're the only parent at home, which I assume you're not, but let's say you're the only parent at home, you get drunk driven, your kid is going to get turned over to Child Protective Services, to CPS.
Right.
But that's not what happened. We just deported this fucking kid. We kept him in a
Was the
cage, and we're
parent
like, I don't
legal?
know who the what?
Was the parent legal?
No.
And
So you
we
don't
deported the
care?
kid and not the parent.
We deported both, but we separated them. They didn't. We lost track of where that kid was supposed to be and where the father was, and we just sort of put them in separate facilities and handled them individually. And I think that there's like 150 kids that we still don't know where their parents are.
Yeah, and again, it's
We
going to
fully
come down
lost
to
track of
like,
it.
this bad thing happened. Does it justify saying that ICE doesn't need to exist? No, or that
I'm not
ICE
saying
is
I
being so
shouldn't
evil. ICE is
exist.
being so evil that we need to stop them.
No, but
No,
I think you have to
not in my opinion.
justify. I think you have to justify these tactics because the way that I would look at it, I would say there's a far more humane practice that we can work towards.
Yeah,
I
can I
will say
ask you a question,
Biden.
Staxiums, actually? Since we're on this
Yeah,
other humane
dead naming me
practices,
once again.
do you think Biden was sufficient on his border enforcement and his treatment towards illegals? I know you cited 4 million as a number of deportations, right? But do you think that he did enough during his tenure to stop
I
the
think.
border problem?
I would say no, but it was certainly way more of the. It was certainly in a better direction than what Trump was doing.
So
I have two main criticisms for Biden.
yeah, but
Yeah,
on that note, right? If you don't think it was enough, then ICE under Biden wasn't doing enough and needed to do more. Correct?
genuinely, one of my big critiques that I have of Biden, I'm going to put of
Go ahead.
Biden in quotes. It's really Biden's administration is weirdly enough on Donald Trump, the border security bill that was um, supported by DHS got completely thrown to the wolves because Donald Trump said he's running on immigration and doesn't want House Republicans to tank his campaign deal by making the border more secure. Like
So
weird
there's nothing Biden could
Trump.
have done.
It got no. He's over the executive. It
Right,
tainted in
but
the
you just tried
legislative.
to say that you just said that it was because of the DHS bill, that the DHS supported bill, that he couldn't act. I thought you were just getting it.
Sorry, it did not get passed in the House. I
No,
don't know. I don't
exactly.
know what your
So
question is.
were his hands tied until that got passed, or could he have done things?
I think that largely deciding things up to the legislative branch and reasserting their power is a good thing. I don't like how strong the executive branch has been lately, especially the judicial. But the legislative has been completely crippled.
Well, the
So
judicial
letting
is a
them
different
solve these
branch than the
issues.
executive, but fair enough.
Well, yeah, I
No,
know.
Like,
No. I'm sorry. It was on and off side. I really don't like
so
the judicial, but like
and you mentioned judicial. Just
how
a quick
powerful they
question. I don't
are.
want to get too sidetracked right here.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
would
yeah.
say
That was on
judicials
me.
have too much strength,
We shouldn't go
or would
there.
you say
What?
that with them saying, like with the judicial branch, like legislating from the bench, one of the things that was warned about with the abortion being overturned was it was criticized for decades because it was legislating from the bench, and a lot of people rightly pointed out, like, hey, if a court could overturn this because it's unconstitutional, they shouldn't be
Right.
legislating like that. So
Hmm.
you would say they're more out of control in power now, or the fact that they're turning over decisions like that, would you say they're kind of checked?
I don't think we should get into that. I think that's a little bit off topic. I'm sorry
Yeah,
for
yeah.
opening
My
that can of
apologies.
worms. I would be happy to have that conversation at another time, but I would like to focus specifically on the fact that Biden allowed the legislative branch to do their job rather than just signing that away with the executive order, which could be overturned so easily, as
Right,
we've
and you
seen
would
time and
criticize
time again.
Obama for the same thing?
When did he pass a bunch of immigration legislation through
It
executive
wasn't immigration.
orders?
I would have to go. It wasn't immigration legislation. I'd have to go. Yeah, it's
Sure,
just about it.
sure. I mean, my large critique, unfortunately, it does always go back to Republicans, is Mitch McConnell for completely stalemating the legislative branch over the last 10 years. But regardless, yeah, I think that it's good that the legislative branch, that Biden let the legislative branch do it. But then Donald Trump haunts this specter of Republicans who stay there quivering in his wrath, and decided to walk away from it because Donald Trump says he needed to campaign on immigration.
Yeah, that's politics. It's a bitch, man. It
But
happened.
but like
Like
that's what I'm
no one's
saying. I'm
gonna
saying
say that's a,
one of the reasons we're so ineffective in our border policy is due to our current president.
it's due to our
Like that's
inaction on the problem. Yeah.
yes, it's due to our inaction, but specifically we're trying to act on it. And Donald Trump said no.
Well, no, there are other things that Biden could have instituted that could have helped. No, or do you think he just had nothing he could have
Can
done
you
in
give
order
us
to
an
try to help
example
that
of that,
problem?
Midwest
Yeah,
Monkey?
like
So
what?
You
like
keep saying there are more things that he could have done. What would you have? What would you
So
have happened?
taking a firm stance, like publicly against saying, "Hey, if you come here, we're sending you back home." Taking a firm stance of ICE, we're going to dump more money into you. I'm going to sign. I'm going to sign this
Okay.
executive order saying I'm going to increase your budget by this. Like, is there anything he could have done in your eyes, or is it just that one bill not getting through? That's what caused all of that issue.
Okay, I think you're talking about that one bill as if that isn't the funding of Border Patrol, which I'm highly in support of. I think that the Border Patrol should be. I draw a huge distinction between the Border Patrol and ICE. Border
Yeah, they have
Patrol
different
makes a ton of
functions.
sense. Yeah, of course. Border Patrol makes a ton of sense to function.
So
I'm
does
all
ICE. Yeah.
for. I would say they have a much narrower focus, and their focus is really just to transport people who have already committed crimes from the courthouses back to their home
Or
country.
find homeland threats, do investigations into people who are here who probably shouldn't be.
Sure, there's two sections of
Enforcement and
uh
removal, and then homeland
yeah, it's
security
ERO
investigations.
and
Yeah.
HIC. Yeah. So
Yeah.
my main criticisms are going to be to ERO, obviously.
Right.
So
And like that's the thing
HIC
is we always
or
talk about.
HSI could totally exist. I'm totally fine with it. Homeland Security investigations, go for it. Like I understand that people can be a little quippy when they say we should abolish ICE. I think that we could be more targeted and specific with our language, sure, but I think that people are rightfully freaked out by masked agents putting like with not even a fucking name tag on their uniform, going out who are completely untrained, don't have background checks, and pulling people from schools. I think that
Yeah, and
it's
there's
fair
been
to be
no
freaked
like
out by
big
that.
numbers of that actually being a problem, right?
I don't know what
Like
you mean by that.
you've cited something to me about, oh, there's this guy that got through, then the reporter, they didn't do a proper check on her, but it's like, oh, you can be skeptical and be like, hey, maybe I should do these hiring processes. I haven't seen anything substantiated behind, oh, they're not doing any background checks whatsoever. But
But
like, and
don't
especially when you bring up the mask thing, like
okay,
these agents are masking for no reason.
there's an issue with your framing here. This isn't it's like how do I it's I'm going to try to use an example. There's a distinction between finding someone who hadn't done a background check and one reporter trying to get into ICE and a background check wasn't committed, because that's a random occurrence and it didn't occur, rather than finding one out of the 20,000 Border Patrol agents. Does that make sense? Like there's a huge distinction between those two situations, and for you to call it anecdotal sort of belies the like
Well, I
how
haven't seen
horrific it
anything
is.
as far as like how bad it is. Like you've cited these two things, but that's your
Sure,
best
I
evidence.
agree. I agree. It's really difficult
You
to pin
think we've
down the
never
hiring
had like
process.
a cop or maybe like a 37 felony count president or anything like that, or what?
Okay, let me read some.
I don't know where you're even going there.
Yeah, let me read some. Let me read some super chats, right? And gang, if you want to ask these gentlemen a question on either side, please get your super chats in. We'll get that done. $5 from Zephyr Hash to say Rise of Skywalker is objectively bad. It is X-Men Origins level bad. Anyone who even tolerates that movie is an offense to the art of filmmaking. Well, thank you for the $5. $5 from Zephyr Hash, and this is to MidwestMonkey. Lamau, bro thinks kicking immigrants out is going to make wages go up. Yeah, bro. It's not the $1 trillion Elon payout. It's the $20,000 Latino. So how?
Look, I don't.
On that note, on wages going up. Do you think that kicking out the immigrants, the illegal immigrants, will have a positive effect on wages?
Yeah, like, and I can't say like, oh, if we kicked every single one of them out, it's going to go up $5 an hour. Like, there's 20 different problems that having the illegals in the country can cause. That's just an aspect of like, we can go down each one, list them out, and then how many are we willing to eat in order to be, oh, well, these immigrants, they're making us prosperous when GDP does not account for how the lower class feels, how they're doing in society.
Oh my
You saw that
God.
with the last election, where everyone was telling them like, "Hey, no, the economy's great. You got to take in Biden's running mate. Like Kamala's going to do a great job. The economy's great." Meanwhile, everyone on the streets was like, "Hey, I can't afford my groceries or my bills right now."
Okay. Fuck. I really hate this. I hate this sentiment. I hate the sentiment that GDP. I understand that GDP isn't a perfect indicator. It certainly
Yeah, 'cause it shows
correlates.
rich getting richer. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. It correlates with median income, though. No.
And how much has that raised in the last 10 years?
I don't know. I would guess $5 an hour. I don't know. How much would you say? I don't know. I would have to pull up some stats.
No, I'm.
It's increased.
You were
It's
just
increased a
acting
decent
so.
amount.
You were just acting so enthralled, like, oh, how could you say? Look, I'm not going to sit here and say that it's going to solve that issue. I'm just saying that that's one of the issues that can be alleviated by it.
Okay, wait, hold on. I've got some stats here, just really quickly, and I've got an example as well, if that's helpful. Immigrants' share of total output was about 18% in 2024. However, in terms of population, immigrants make up 15% of the U.S. population, meaning that their economic output is more than their share of the total
3%
population.
more. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not saying
Yeah.
it's a
And what does
significant
that mean
amount, but they're
for
certainly
what does that mean for
beneficial.
poor people on the street as compared
It
to a
increases the
multinational
velocity of the
corporation?
dollars such that the amount
And the
of money
dollar's
being
worth so much right now. I know.
Hey, hold on.
Take
Fuck.
your time. I
Okay,
got more super
there's
chats,
like
but take your time.
okay,
Right.
there's like 1,000 directions that this can go in. Okay, firstly, yes, correct. Inflation is directly tied to the velocity of the dollar. Secondly,
And is that the only correlate, or is that the correlate that you want to point out?
Well, that's how it's. No, that's that's one of the correlates. What's another correlate that you feel like is negatively? Wait, hold on. Let's start here. Do you think that economists largely agree that immigrants are a net boon to the economy and to the average American citizen?
Yeah, I would say most economists say that. Yeah.
Okay, great. Do you? Oh, okay. Does that not maybe give you some pause? Because I agree, I'm not an economist. Okay.
Yeah, and when it comes
I
to when it comes to poor people saying how much harder it's been getting over time to survive, do you take their word in the cause or no?
I think that largely speaking, when it comes to people's,
They're just too stupid or what?
Okay, this is a tricky topic, and again, I'm not an economist. So there's a couple different factors that we need to take into consideration here. Firstly, when it comes to people's own recognition of how well they are doing economically, it is sometimes very poorly correlated with how well they're actually doing. Okay. The second thing, back on the first point. It's actually very closely correlated with economic inequality, which is at an all-time high. I concede that. But I also think that wages are not a zero-sum game, such that if someone is doing significantly better than you, it means that you're doing significantly worse. It might
of course not.
feel that way. It might feel that way because you're seeing someone do significantly better than you, but it might not actually be the case. So when we look at all of these economic indicators, we are trying to push away from people's personal feelings and recognize how well they're actually doing. On the second note, though, I do believe that largely speaking, economic indicators show that people feel decently the same about how well they've been doing over the last 10 years. I don't know if there's been like there's been this
You
shoot
haven't heard
down,
anyone talking about the housing prices, nothing?
Of course I've heard that. Yeah, but
Do
I
you
think people have always been talking
real
about
quick,
housing prices.
do you think that these economic problems are the fault of illegal immigrants?
No,
This
I
is
wouldn't
the
say
Mr. Monkey.
it's all the illegal immigrants' fault. Absolutely not.
Then how would
But if they
removing
do
illegal
have an
immigrants
effect, how
solve
much
the
of an
problem?
effect are you willing to take?
Well,
Well, if they
just
do have
real
an
quick.
effect on it,
I mean, well,
I would say
how
that
much of an effect are you willing to take?
in terms of housing costs, I would say that like having this demand side perspective of recognizing how many people are in the country rather than just allowing, I mean, not to get on my zoning tangent again, but like we can just
Oh, no,
allow.
I'm a zoning cat too. I love it. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so if there are too many people here, why don't we just build enough fucking homes for them?
yeah, and
Like, why are we talking about housing prices as if that's negatively correlated with immigration?
well, because
We really should be
immigration
looking at a
does have an
supply
effect on
issue.
that.
But we should be
Yeah,
looking at the supply issue, no?
yeah,
Why
100%.
would we?
But how much are you? How much
So
of a hit
just a
are you
little
expecting
factoid,
people to take?
just real quick, and I do have some more super chats. I don't want to get stuck on this one, right? We got more to go through. But
Yeah.
just as a factoid, if you will, South Texas is having huge problems building more housing because of ICE raids. ICE are coming in and raiding people at construction sites, and whether they're legal or illegal, are taking them away. And that's caused a lot of people who have proper paperwork not wanting to show up to work. This was reported a couple weeks ago in the Wall Street Journal. So if we're talking about like how illegal immigrants are affecting the economy, I think it's fine. But I just want you to kind of walk me through and walk us through how removing illegal immigrants will improve the plight of the poor in America. And I'm going to
Can I-
give
You
you
think
space to
that they
do
don't
that. Go
have?
ahead.
So are you going to?
Can I throw one more thing in there?
No, let him. I want him to answer that
Yeah,
question
go
before
ahead.
we move on.
Sure. Well,
So
it was in support, but go ahead.
I haven't dug into the research enough to know it's like, okay, so what percentage can we say each of these problems are contributing to this thing that we want solved? But when it comes to illegal immigration as a whole, will getting rid of illegal immigrants solve this issue? No, it could alleviate some of the pains. And when it comes, like, we're looking economically, when I think everyone in America would tell you to your face that, hey, I can't even afford a house on my own. I can't, like, bills are getting harder and harder to pay for. And you're going to ask poor people, like, hey, I know that, you have these illegal immigrants, and most of them are going to do great. Almost all of them are going to contribute to the economy. But we don't want to kick everybody out. We don't want to hunt down the people who are doing crimes. We should just give them amnesty. Like, nah, no one's going to take that.
Okay, I think my main issue is sort of recognizing the fact that you do concede that the vast majority of the economists agree on the fact that immigrants provide an economic boon. You disagree with economists.
No, I would say
And
they're
yet,
100% right. I just think that the boon goes to someone other than the people who matter most, which is the vast majority of Americans.
do you not think that that's what they're factoring in? You think that they're just considering whether or not Elon Musk gets a bigger paycheck?
No, I think they consider it, but I don't. When it comes to those economist numbers, I've never seen the numbers broken down to a factor of like, okay, well, here's how much they add to, But then on the opposite side, it's like, well, they don't take anything from our Social Security or anything like this because they can't even have it. When you have
Right.
instances of them actually taking from Social Security, you have instances of them
Hold
in
on, cite
California
that.
going to the ER and using the ER and putting up the cost of
That's a
health up
hold
in
on. That's a
California.
different. That's a completely different point. I fully concede that they go to the ER and get and the state foots that bill. Do you have
Right.
any citation of them taking from Social Security? I haven't seen any of that. That'd
Yeah,
be very
there's a
surprising to me.
hold on one second. Gotta
That'd be
look
very
this up.
surprising.
There's a
Because
report of
hold
them
on. I want
using.
to be super clear that largely speaking, the way that illegal immigrants obtain work is through two main methods. The first is just being paid under the table, but the second is by like buying a Social Security card off of the black market, which essentially means that they are putting into the Social Security fund, but they don't get to take it out at the very end of it. This is one of the huge reasons as to why economists largely say that immigrants benefit the average worker, because we are all
Yeah. And you haven't heard of any
essentially
of the
kind of stealing from them.
And you haven't heard of any of the fraud when it comes to them using Social Security numbers that they shouldn't have and taking from?
No, I have not.
Yeah, okay, that's
I
right.
would be very surprised of
Yep,
Social
just look it
Security.
up, Captain.
Okay, while you're looking it up, let me read some of these other super chats so I can make a little money. $5 from Zephyr Hash again. Thank you for the $5. This says, why should or we should allow anti-Americans in America by the same logic as ICE allows anti-ICE into the organization. Why not, right? $20.
Yeah, what is it against the law to be against America? No, if you want to be against America, be here. Who cares?
Fair enough. OMG It's Soup for $20. Thank you for the $20. To say, at this point, I think only in the past 3 to 4 months of this administration, ICE DHS has done 1,000 times more damage to the trust of government and institutions than all of the illegals since the founding of the country. What would you reply to that?
Could I just say real quick, because I hate when people say look it up, just look it up, and then I look it up and it says the exact opposite of what they're saying. So I'm just gonna read word for word. I looked it up. I looked up illegal immigrant Social Security in case you think I biased the results. Here's what it says. Undocumented immigrants are ineligible for Social Security benefits as federal law requires lawful presence to collect. Despite this, they contribute significantly to the system with an estimated $25.7 billion in tax paid in 2022. They are ineligible for retirement, survivor, or disability payments, even while paying into the trust fund.
Look, I'll have to find you this. I'll have to find you what I was reading up on.
Okay.
And it was tying into like California refusing to share Social Security information with DHS because they're scared because they're a sanctuary state. And I forget what senator it was. But yeah, I'll have to find it. I'll get it over to you, Ben.
Okay. I reject this idea. Like, one of the huge reasons as to why illegal immigrants benefit into the system is because they pay into the fund that they don't take out. Like,
I just think they shouldn't be here. They're illegal. They should be gone.
Sure. Wait, hold on. But you keep moving the goalpost because I'm saying here's an economic benefit, and then you keep turning over to the law. And I'm like, okay, well, I agree that that's obviously the law, but what about the moral issues? And then you're like, well, it's morally bad.
What's the
because
moral
they take
issue
away from
against
us.
kicking
And I'm
them
saying,
out?
economically speaking, they aren't.
Yeah, and if you talk to most Americans, why do you think they voted in Trump, who ran on immigration? Most Americans don't want illegal immigrants
Because
here, but
wait,
you're saying,
hold
well,
on,
look, keep
hold
them. They
on.
do this good thing
Pause.
for the economy.
Fully. I would say that most people believed Trump when he said, I'm taking the violent people out. Most people want violent illegal immigrants to be removed and don't really have an issue with peaceful ones. That's most people, including those who voted for Trump.
I would say most
certainly say that.
people would want to get rid of any illegal immigrant. Like even immigrant families will say they want to get rid of
I would
illegal
say
immigrants.
I would say I disagree with you. I would say that I don't know if this is fair to quote, but Joe Rogan certainly disagreed. One of the big reasons he voted for Trump and supported Trump was because he would take away the violent criminals. And then when ICE started murdering U.S. citizens, he said, "This is
in
too far. I'm not comfortable with it." Okay. Do we want to go down that road?
No,
That's
you
all.
don't.
Well, I got more
fucking
super
going
chats.
2
It's up to you
miles per
guys.
hour, get shot through the fucking side window.
Yeah, don't drive your car into an ice age. I don't know what to tell you.
She was told to leave.
She was told to get out of her car.
She was told contradicting information. She was also told to get out of
Okay,
her
so
car.
don't act like it was just like, oh, it was this simple. No.
Oh,
From what I saw,
I said Hold on. She got told two different things. She got told to get out of her car and also to move along. She chose
It's
to
been
move
said
along.
that has never been verified that they told her to get out. And what I've heard on the video is them telling her get out of the car, not drive away. The one who told her to
Okay.
drive away was her girlfriend who jumped into the car with her.
Okay.
That's what I've seen. I'm not sure what
Hold
you've
on.
seen.
The girlfriend did not jump into the car. She attempted to jump into the car, but the car door was locked. So she was not in the car when the
And her,
when,
so she didn't say, "Baby, go, go, go." Nothing.
yeah, she did say that. She
Okay,
wasn't
so
in the
when you
car.
say she was given conflicting commands by ICE agents, because
She was given two. Yes, correct. Okay, wait, hold on. Okay, let's say that ICE agent said, "Get out of the car," and then she
yes,
drove away. Do you recognize a couple different things? First
no,
off,
no, no,
it is
stop right there.
against
That she drove away with an agent in front of her car. Yes,
fucking 2 miles per hour. Yes.
doesn't matter. If he
Okay.
felt like it was a threat and he had to defend himself, that's what you have
And
to
shoot
argue in
through the
court. It's not
side
for you to.
window?
It's shot through the windshield too. What are you talking about?
Correct. Why did he take 2 more shots through the side window?
Yeah, because as a human being, you're just gonna pull off the perfect shot every time.
Why do you need to pull off the perfect shot? If you missed, you're out of the way now. So why do you
No, I
care?
mean, like, not perfect shot. What I meant to say was you're gonna pull the trigger one time in defense of your life every time.
I don't even understand this question. If you are not out, if you are
If your
outside
life is in
of
danger,
wait, hold on,
you're
hold on.
gonna bust more than one shot. That's what I'm saying.
If you are outside of that danger, you stop shooting. Yes, I think that's
You
my
were saying he was
expectation
outside
first.
of the danger, and the hospital said that he was treated
How
for
is he
internal
shoot?
bleeding. So I don't
Oh
know,
my
like, which
god.
one
We
do we
all
believe?
saw him fucking walking around like nothing.
Yeah, I
And
know
by
you
the
all
way,
say that,
we
but
haven't seen
the hospital disagrees.
I have not seen the hospital say that. I've seen Donald Trump say that the hospital said that, which I do think is pretty distinctly different.
Look, and I will say straight up, especially with Christy Nome, who I hate with a passion,
Okay.
DHS, especially with like the agents have been caught lying. But I saw like me and you watched the same video. You think he wasn't hit or like was like very lightly hit.
No,
You're
not hit
gonna
at
argue
all.
this back and
Only just stepped out of the way because it was
yeah,
going 2 miles per hour.
you heard him
By
get
the
hit
way,
in his
by
phone
the
that he
way,
was holding. Yeah,
first
exactly. That's why this is a
first
problem.
thing, first thing that I'm gonna go over. I'm
And
gonna
just to be
actually
clear, I'm gonna let you go in a second, but this is about more than just the Renee Good shooting, right? Like I don't want to get
I know.
stuck on this.
We got here.
Right, but go
That's
ahead.
totally fine. You can pull us away if you want, Wick.
No, keep
But
going for a bit.
I do have
I gotta
to
actually
say,
use the restroom, so
okay,
be good. And I'll be right back.
I'll say a
We'll be
couple
nice.
slurs while
Don't
you're
you worry.
gone. Okay. First thing, okay? A huge I think that almost every single police officer, it's within their guidelines to not shoot at a moving vehicle. This is largely
Safe.
because what?
No, go ahead.
This is largely because if you shoot someone who's in a moving vehicle, it provides much more of a danger. We saw this with Renee Good, but we see this happen consistently with vehicles that are shot at. The foot really just pushes into the gas pedal and they start moving at extreme speeds and crash into whatever's in front of them. We saw that with Renee Good's vehicle. She basically died. Her foot hit the gas pedal and she drove like 40, 50
Yeah, so
miles
you're
per
saying
hour.
that they're taught not. So is it
I
in
would say
like
with
police?
proper training, you would choose not to shoot at a police. You would know not to shoot at
There'd
a
be
vehicle.
no situation where you would, as a police officer or an agent,
No,
there would be no reason to ever shoot at a vehicle moving in your like moving towards you, and you think your
you'd
life is safe.
shoot at the wheels 100%. Shoot at the
No, the
wheels
shooting the
a
wheels.
mil-
It's like saying shoot
100% of
him
the
in the
time.
legs. He's not a threat. Just shoot him in the legs, bro. No, that's not how that
Why
works.
would you shoot the driver? You're just gonna make more of a threat than anything.
You shoot at the driver in defense of you.
But you are being attacked by a vehicle that's already moving in your direction. If you shoot the fucking driver,
Yeah,
they're just gonna
you said
keep
no, no, no,
plowing
hold
even
on. You
further.
said that there is a thing that police are taught. So police are taught to never shoot at a vehicle in
At a
self-defense.
moving vehicle. Yes.
Could
Do
you
you want me
show
to
me
pull
that?
up? Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
because I've seen it where ICE are told like
Police.
do not no trying to shoot at a fleeing vehicle and no positioning yourself in front of a moving vehicle. I have never seen
Okay.
it showed where you can't defend yourself at
I
the vehicle.
am going to maybe I'm going to be able to pull this up. Well,
I'm
Department of
back.
Justice policies on use of force. Hi, we're looking at
If they say that you can't defend yourself when a car is coming in your direction.
Are you looking up the DHS use of force policies?
Yeah, because he's gonna realize that
Okay,
that's not what it
if you
speaks
want
to.
Here we
zoom
go.
into
Here we go.
the-
Hold on. I've got
Go ahead.
a quote here. I can send you the link if you want. This
No, go
is
ahead, say
from
it.
the
Come on.
DOJ's policy on deadly force. Firearms may not be discharged solely to disable moving vehicles.
Solely
Specific
to disable.
Totally.
Like how
Just
you're
wait,
saying
hold on.
shoot
It's
at
a
the
whole
tires.
fucking paragraph. Just let me say the whole fucking
I
paragraph.
know.
And I'm not going to read ahead, so I could be wrong on this. I don't think I'm going to be wrong on this. Specifically, firearms may not be discharged at a moving vehicle unless 1. A person in the vehicle is threatening the officer or another person with deadly force by means other than the vehicle, or 2. The vehicle is operated in a manner that threatens to cause death or serious physical injury to the officer and others, and no other objectively reasonable means of defense appears to exist, which includes moving out of the path of the vehicle. Firearms may
Right.
not be discharged from a moving vehicle except in exigent circumstances. In these
Yeah, so nothing
situations,
you said there is said that they cannot shoot at a vehicle that they feel is a threat. Nothing you said there says that.
moving out of the path. Did we see the fucking video?
That's what. Yeah, you could argue he should have moved out of the path. Go ahead and argue that. But to say
Okay,
that
so then according to the DOJ, he shouldn't have shot her.
no, that it's all up to him and what a jury would find reasonable in his situation.
Okay, if you're seeing the video and not thinking that he could step out of the fucking way, I don't know what to tell you. I do not know what to tell you.
You guys
Like, you are
misremember the
way too
video
far
all the
gone.
time. I don't want to hear it.
Okay,
Do
I
we need
guess
to bring
so.
up the
But I
video?
will also say he did just move out of the way. He didn't even get fucking hit. Yeah, you want to pull up the video? I would love to pull up the video. Make sure
Like,
it's not that
Hey,
Hey,
grainy
let's
one
finish.
from 200
Let's
yards
finish
away.
out super chats. I got to go here soon. If we want to do a video breakdown another day, we can do that.
Okay, fair
Word.
enough. $5.
And I don't want just one video. If we do that, I want the video from his perspective with what he was filming too. When you hear him get hit by the car.
Let me finish up super chats then. $5 from Death
Okay.
to Billionaires. If you want to pull up the videos, feel free. Just DM it to me and I'll bring them up. How can you
Okay.
be stupid enough? And this is from Death to Billionaires. How can you be stupid enough to think that immigrants, even illegal ones, affect inflation more than the complete monopolization of our market? Question mark, question mark, question mark.
Did I say that illegal immigrants were the sole cause of inflation? No, you retard.
$5 from my listening library
But they-
YouTube to say, I'm in the construction field. Initially, wages would go up, but many small companies would dissolve and monopolies form, and wages would drop overall, in my opinion.
Okay.
$5 from Zephyr Hash. It is the illegal immigrants buying up the trailer parks and creating data centers, not the billionaires. Also, pigs are flying, and RFK is of sane mind. Thank you. for the
Look, if you
$5.
didn't learn about supply and demand in school, I don't know what to tell you, brother.
Got him. Mogged.
Wrecked. You go.
Okay. Where do you guys want to go from here? I know that. How much? Hold on.
When do you have to go?
Just real quick, MidwestMonkey. How much time do you have left?
I got to put the boy down here soon, actually. So, is there anything you wanted to get into, Hunter?
Let me look over some of my notes. Anything else that I want to get into?
So essentially, it's like what you were saying is not get rid of ICE or anything like that. Just they're operating too evil and they should be stopped. Is essentially what we're coming to.
Sure. All round to that. Yeah. I don't think evil is a helpful word, but whatever. Sure. Yeah. I will say 32 people died in ICE custody, the highest number ever since the agency's creation. That's an important fact, I think. I would also say that I don't know, like there is a distinct difference between how ICE has been handled under Trump and how ICE is handled under Obama and Biden. I would still say that there could be a reduction in the way that it's handled under those two presidents, but goddamn, Trump is a tour de force.
Hey, I would not argue against that.
Okay, let's get to closing.
Wasn't that
statements
with
since you
the
have to go.
whole?
Let's get to the closing statements since you have to go. Staxiums, I want to talk to you a little bit after once he.
The whole what?
Okay.
It was the conversation today? How much? you
Wasn't
like
that the
Trump and how-
whole? No,
No,
wait,
I
hold
would-
on. It was Trump's authorization of ICE specifically in these last 2 years or year and a half. I don't know.
I could
or
have
I
sworn
guess
that
just 1
Trump
year.
was ICE being evil.
Yeah, but we were talking about the current application of it. That's why
Yeah, and
I
you
said
can
I think
disagree
that there
with
are
how
some
Trump's running
ways.
it, but I would say that there could be benefit. Like it's still going to bear out whether there's going to be benefit from the way it's being run or not. we can argue back and forth whether we
Okay.
want it to be ran that way. I would disagree with the way it's been ran in certain situations, but is it evil? I thought that was the whole prompt of this debate.
No, hold on.
The
Arguing whether or
prompt
not ICE is a
is
necessary
ICE a
evil, you
necessary
would
evil? Question mark. That's the prompt. That's what I gave you both.
a
Yeah.
given
So it's not, is ICE evil for these last 2 years?
it's a concession that they're evil, and then you're saying that it's necessary. It's baked into the question is that we both agree that it's evil,
Yeah.
but you would say it's a
we would both
necessary
agree
evil.
it's necessary?
No, I
No,
would say it's
ICE is
unnecessary.
necessary. I wouldn't say that the way that they're functioning today is completely necessary, no.
Okay, I don't even
But I would also
understand.
not be able to go in the other way and see how it turns out when it comes to the numbers at the end.
What numbers? What are you saying?
Like, so say they do these aggressive operations. I know that fucking Trump's White House is like, oh well, we've the illegal immigration has stopped. No one's coming now. Blah blah blah. But I don't. I would have to see actual numbers on that to know if whether being aggressive and doing it like this is actually going to do anything into making it to where people don't want to come.
I didn't even follow that. I'm sorry. I'm probably
Okay,
just
here's
too
what we're gonna
stupid.
do. Here's what we're gonna do. Okay, we're gonna get to closing statements and stack seems. I want you to hang out around for a bit because I have a new thing.
You got it. I'll
But
hang out.
I want to give you both closing statements. Tell people where they can find you. I have links to their X accounts in my YouTube description because no one gave me channels, right? But I'm gonna,
Oh shit.
yeah, I want to give the mic first to Hunter, and then we'll give it to Mr. Monkey here and let him have the last word. So, Hunter, close us out.
Fair. Cool. ICE has been an aggressively violent agency, especially under Donald Trump's hands. I would certainly say that there are very few functions that ICE behaves in which I think that it is good that they are doing so. I don't know if that sentence made sense. But largely speaking, going into classrooms, going into courtrooms, going door to door, engaging in the violence that we've been seeing and looking at their hiring practices, I think that we should be extremely, extremely critical of the way that ICE is functioning and threatening with defunding and maybe abolition, depending on how specifically abolition functions. My name is Hunter E. Kozak. You can find me anywhere, really. I'm mostly on TikTok, but also Twitter and YouTube and other places as well. You can find me Hunter E. Kozak anywhere. Thank you for having me, Wick.
Yeah, check
Glad
him
to be
out,
back.
gang. Thanks for being here. We're gonna have a little powwow after this because I have some questions for you. But
That's pretty racist of you, actually,
a
Wick.
little powwow. Okay, I don't know if that's racist.
I got eaten alive on a TikTok for saying powwow, and I was
Oh.
like, "Are you guys fucking for real? This is
Yeah,
crazy."
yeah, that's crazy talk. Let's give the mic next to Midwest Monkey to have the last word. Go ahead, give us your closing statement, please.
Yeah, when it comes to how ICE has been functioning, arguing back or forth, I would say that going to door to door, if they're infringing on people's civil rights, all that, absolutely, it should be dealt with. People should be fired. It should be handled with appropriately. I thought we were going to go more into like ICE abolitionism here, and obviously that didn't get brought up. I just think that ICE has a very important function in America. You can disagree with how it's being ran, with their tactics. I would say that like getting arrested at courts is a funny thing to bring up when some courts aren't letting them come in. And what are they being arrested at? Are we talking immigration courts, criminal courts? Because I've seen them act in both. When it comes to, oh well, ICE has been extremely violent. Like there hasn't been a complete and total protest, and like people literally trying to prevent them from doing their job and trying to intimidate them away from doing their job, and then talk about how they have to wear masks because people's families have been threatened, and they try to make it to where we're going to make it so hard and it's so bad for you to even try to do this job that people won't even sign up for ICE. That's exactly what the protesters are trying to do, is make it hard enough for people to quit and people not join.
Based.
So I think it's reasonable to be mad. I think it's reasonable to question. I think it's unreasonable to think that it's anything comparable to a Gestapo or anything like that.
Okay. Thank you for being here. Is there anything else, anywhere that people can find you if they want to find you?
Never. No, thank you.
I'll talk to you later and have a great night, okay, buddy?
You too, gentlemen. Thanks, Hunter. I enjoyed that.
Thank you. Appreciate you, Mr. Monkey.
Okay.
I'll never not find that funny, Colin. I don't know if this is bullshit or not. I do want to throw this out. I don't know if it's bullshit to continue the debate when he's not really here. I do want to say really quickly, though, we've seen that the ICE lurks at state courthouses, and there have been reports of them arresting witnesses to crimes and victims of human trafficking. So it's not just people who commit crimes; it's also on people reporting crimes.
Yeah.
And we're like, they're illegal. We got to get them.
So I have a couple questions for you, buddy, as we've been doing this, and I just want to kind of pick your brain a little bit. I planned for 2 hours of content, so we're gonna give my audience 2 hours of content.
Hell yeah, let's do it. I got time scheduled.
Yeah. How do you think that went overall? How'd you do? What would you rate yourself if you had to give yourself a grade? A+ to F. What do you think you did?
I'll give myself a B. A B. I don't know.
Okay.
Be honest. What's up? Are you critical of the way that I handled myself?
I mean, I'm trying to figure out. Yes, I am.
Okay, that's okay. Go ahead.
I'm trying to figure out though what your goals were during this debate. Like, what were you trying to convince the audience of?
Sure. Well, I don't know if I had the positive claim, so I was really waiting for him to. I was attacking on multiple different avenues, and I don't know if he really picked a lane on why ICE was beneficial to the country, because I think he was sort of he kept saying that there was it was just that's part of the law, but then there was an economic benefit, and I was trying to attack each of those individual claims, but because I was on the defense, I was waiting for him to make a positive claim so that I could shut it down. So I was kind of prepared in a lot of different manners.
I think that kind of really hurt you during this debate.
Okay.
You were waiting for him to hold on. Lola, it's okay. I'll be there in a second. Sorry, my doggy. Okay.
Okay.
Shot caller time. No, I'm kidding. Gang. It's a joke. It's a
Nice.
joke. It's a joke. Okay.
I got it.
But I think that when coming into these things, you have to be able to have a hill that you plant your flag on, right? And you make them come to you. And I wonder, like, because he was able to just be like, well, I don't think that's a big deal, or to distract every time you tried to kind of pin him on something he wanted. He was very slippery, which is
I think that's
right?
I think that's a critique that I've heard a lot of the way that I debate, is that I sort of let people get away with, like, sort of just run in whichever hill that they want to be in, and I sort of just follow them there.
Yeah.
So I hear that. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Look, I think you're right. I think you're correct, right? I think you had the better opinion, right? I was just a little frustrated during the debate because I couldn't jump in, right? I tried not to.
Sure, you're the moderator.
Yeah, I'm trying to be the moderator. But I was like,
sure.
He keeps just letting this guy kind of dictate the flow of things, right? To kind of take him wherever he wants to go. And
I'm not a super aggressive debater. I agree.
Well, it's not about being aggressive.
No. I mean aggressive in the sense of, like, dictating how the conversation functions. I don't mean aggressive as in, like, yelling. Yeah, I'm very passive. Which I've heard a couple people say that.
I mean, there are times where that can work, right?
Sure, and I try to open up a dialogue in which we can have an honest conversation, but sometimes that can involve sidestepping the debate.
You mentioned during the debate that you don't know if you want to defund ICE or to abolish.
Yeah,
ICE.
I think that there are some functions that they do that can be probably just shifted over into the DHS. Obviously, there's the HSI, which investigates, like, criminal matters, which is part of ICE, and I think most people have no issue with that. So when people say that they want to abolish ICE, I think that they are being a little bit quippy with their language, just saying, like, this specific function we want to disband, and then people on the other side will go, really, you want to defund ICE? Look at all of the good things that they're doing. And there's like one or two good things that they're doing. So I think we can leave one of those. We can either shift that back into DHS, or just radically defund how they operate. Does that make sense?
I think that for me, if you'd asked me a year ago or even 2 years ago, right? And you asked me,
Mhm.
hey, do you want to disband, abolish ICE? I would say, no, that's horrible. Why? Illegal immigrants do need to go, right? I'm not against deporting illegal immigrants. But since all this has happened, and since Trump has kind of taken power again and gone through and changed the policies, and changed how basically ICE functions, I am now on team abolish ICE. I think that ICE is younger than me. Okay, ICE hasn't been
Yeah,
around for very long.
they were created in 2003. Yeah,
Yes.
but then I think
Like
the
what
issue here.
function is ICE doing right now that you think that the other agencies couldn't pick up?
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that we're just saying different things because I said I'm in favor of abolishing ICE, but then we would just have to change some of the things. We would have to say that the agencies have to pick up some of these things that ICE is doing. In which case, how much did we really just abolish ICE when we just took one or two of their duties and just shifted them to another agency?
So
I would say
we have to talk about it in the context of where we're doing it, though, right? We would talk about it in the context of when we take power again, right? We can't do it now. We don't have the power. We don't have the Senate. We don't have the Congress. We don't have the White House.
right.
But once we get enough of those, I think 2 out of 3 would be fine. What we can do is
2 out of 3
of
of
those
the
branches of
branches.
government, right?
Yeah, well, we're
Legislative,
not getting the judicial.
yeah, legislative and executive.
Totally.
Yes. I think that one of the major things that we can do is, in order to send a signal to the American public that these kinds of abuses will never be tolerated, I think it's a very good signal and a very important signal to simply disband that organization and put
Sure,
its
but
and that's what the worth of disbanding ICE would be. It would be we would take all these policies that they've been kind of shoveled with, right? This rot that has taken hold of them, right? And we purge it. We fire every single one of the people who are employed currently by ICE, right? We get rid of all their leadership, make sure their leadership can't work in the government again. And then we simply take the duties that are important that ICE does and we give it into the hands of other organizations, right? Or we could start a new organization if we need to, right? Bring back the INS
sure, but
if we need to.
I worry that that's just an aesthetic distinction because all of the difference, all of the duties have just been reallocated. I would have issues with specific duties that they're invoking right now that I think should be massively scaled back. But when it comes to
Hold on,
investigating
well,
criminal,
let's talk about that. What specific duties, and
I would
not
say
policies?
two.
I'm not talking about policies. I'm not talking about the way that they're performing their duties, but the duties
Totally.
themselves. What do you think that
I would say
the
there are
duties
two things
themselves,
that
right?
ICE does well. The first is specifically Homeland Security investigations, which is under ICE, which investigates like MS-13 transnational criminal matters, like those specific gang affiliated duties. I think are largely good. The government, it's good that ICE does that. The second is transportation of illegal immigrants who have already served their time and by a court has been commanded to be deported. ICE transports them from America to their home country.
Okay.
To me, both of those are good things.
So
And
I don't disagree. Those are good things. I'm asking you why ICE specifically has to do those things.
they don't. They don't. All I'm
Okay.
saying I think that's what I've been saying, which is there are some duties that they have that are good.
But you understand.
So when we talk about abolishing ICE,
yeah, but when we talk about abolishing ICE, we are not, or at least I'm not, and I think most people aren't talking about abolishing those duties. We are saying that
that's why
ICE has failed in its execution of those duties because the way they are executing those duties, look, the argument is clear, right? ICE is not enforcing the law right now. It's not. It's breaking the law, right? They are
I fully
breaking
agree
the
with
law in multiple ways, violating people's First Amendment rights, Fourth Amendment rights, Eighth Amendment rights. They're also defrauding people who are paying money to the DHS right now in order to have their cases heard, and they're not hearing their cases. They are taking to the tunes of billions of dollars. Let's be clear, right? So again, like all these things, we don't, just because a criminal organization can do some good things, right? The mob, right, took care of the neighborhoods that it had, doesn't mean we don't get rid of the mob, right? So I think that trying to say
Wait,
that,
hold on.
oh, they do some good things, sure, those things can be done by other organizations.
I fully agree, which is why. Hold on. The reason why I said I don't know if I necessarily want to abolish ICE, it depends on what we mean when we say that, is I didn't want some bullshit straw man attack where it's like, well, did you know that the HSI actually investigates MS-13? It's like, yeah, there are some good things that they do. When we say abolish ICE, I would be totally in favor, which is shifting those responsibilities to another agency. And I think I said so explicitly. So when we talk about abolishing ICE, I think we fully agree. But like, I would also, in the same breath, be fully fine, which is radically minimizing how much the ERO, which is the branch of ICE that is doing all these fucking terror raids, radically minimizing how much their responsibilities are and completely cutting their workload. I am definitely in favor of defunding, guaranteed.
Sure.
But when it comes to abolition, it depends on what abolition means. There are some forms in which I would not be okay, in which ICE's duties do not get reflected onto another agency. But I would. So I was worried about getting straw man. So I was doing some preeminent building up of my own position.
Do you think you
So
were
that
straw manned
people,
anyway?
no, I think he was like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Genuinely, I don't know. You
$5
could
from
disagree.
my listening library. Thank you for $5.
Okay.
To say, no, Hunter, ICE needs to be entirely stripped apart. Everyone
I'm
needs to be fired, and none of them needs to be rehired into whatever it turns into. Thank you.
That's fine. I'm fine with that as long as the duties get swept up into another agency. Those two specific duties. There are other duties that ICE takes over, like fucking wandering the streets like Gestapo agents, in which that shouldn't be turned over to any agency. I'm fully in favor of abolishing ICE, given some pretty
Why
decent
didn't you
parameters.
fight on that framework? That's my question.
I feel like I said that explicitly. I don't know.
No,
Maybe
he
I
asked
didn't.
you at the beginning, and maybe it was before we even started, right? But he asked you, are you arguing for an abolishment of ICE? And you said no.
Right, not explicitly.
Okay.
I'm arguing for a radical defunding of specific core tenets of the way that ICE has been operating, specifically under Trump. But largely speaking, the way that it operated under previous presidents is, as far as I can tell, kind of okay.
Mostly, yeah. Here's the problem with like the conversation in general. I think just every time you have them is people will point to specific incidences and say, "Hey, violent illegal aliens come in, they commit violent crimes," and I guess to steelman that side of the argument, they would say something like, "In order to catch these criminals, which I don't think we're doing sufficiently now, we need to expedite certain things, which may make people uncomfortable and might lead to a little bit more of an error rate, but it is worth getting those violent criminals off the streets, in some cases before you can even commit their crime, right? Or further crime, right? And that is where I guess that's the strongest argument that I hear against my position on ICE, right? And they're like, well, they don't have time to get a judicial warrant. That's really hard. They need to just be able to use administrative warrants. I have counters to that, obviously, but what would you say to that, to someone who'd be like, you know what, I'll just fully cede to you that I don't like what they're doing and how they're doing it. But what Biden was doing wasn't enough. Too many violent, illegal aliens were doing violent things, and we need to just get rid of all of them.
The very first point that I would hit is just that they're nonviolent and that they benefit the economy. So why are we even trying to remove them?
Okay, when you say benefit the economy, I think this is another kind of something he was able to catch on a little bit.
Which is just fucking GDP. I hate that argument. I
know,
so
I could tell. But you need.
And I don't know how to tackle it enough.
Here's a problem.
I wasn't prepared for that shit.
Yeah, here's a problem with the thing is, overall, nationally, that's true. But we can point to communities who are negatively impacted by increased illegal immigration, where yes, the nation itself benefits overall, but it's a hard ask to ask a small community in Texas who are overrun with immigrants to take the hits that they're going to take because it just benefits everyone else.
Couldn't I flip that immediately back and say, why should we all bear the brunt of having worse economic conditions just to benefit this small town in Texas?
You could, and that might be a good counter, but you didn't
It
make
would be
that
a good
counter
counter.
during the conversation.
I don't think he made that point.
He didn't make
I
many
think he just
points.
largely said, I think he just largely said GDP is not, who knows, we have to look at the way that people feel. And then I attacked that argument. I don't know if he,
Fair enough.
I don't know.
$2 from my listening library to say shifting duties to another group is abolishing it. I know, my listening library. Thank you for the $2.
Yeah, but then, sure. But then aren't we just saying the same thing? You know what I'm saying? Like, aren't we?
Hold on.
Is there
Do you
even
not
any
think
difference?
that the way you say something matters?
Almost no. No, I don't.
You don't. I disagree heavily. Wait.
Wait. When it comes to the aesthetics of policy and whether or not we argue them, hold on. What do I even believe?
I don't know what you believe. This is why you need to say it properly.
I would say that there is absolutely no difference between
abolishing. Your face is like so red, by the way. It's almost purple.
I know.
You okay?
I know.
We're just friends. We're still friends. I still love you.
It's all
buddy.
good.
Okay.
I love you too, Wick. I would largely say that an aesthetic distinction in terms of policy feels so inconsequential, I'd rather not even talk about it because who cares? The distinction between abolishing the program and then just shifting those duties to another agency and radically reducing ICE such that those duties are the only thing that exists are the same thing. Like, I just described the same exact fucking thing. And, like, I don't know why we fucking care about the difference between those two. But I don't.
You know,
like,
why?
I understand what you're saying,
why
that,
it's
like,
important?
abolish ICE feels good. Well, because it's more politically present. It's a little bit more... It's a little bit more
persuasive,
aware of your audience.
Perhaps?
Yeah, I understand.
Do you think that persuasion is important?
But I also feel like sometimes it's a little bit dishonest to say abolish ICE when really what you mean is a shifting of those duties to other agencies.
How is that dishonest? For example, if I wanted to,
because
look, I want to abolish Trump. I want to get him out of office, right?
But you're not
his duties are going to be taken up by the next president. So I haven't really.
No, but if you have if you have a Trump clone who just wanders in, we didn't do shit. Oh, well, he doesn't go by Trump anymore. He goes by Trump 2.0.
We're not cloning ICE. We're simply removing it. We're just resetting to the state that existed before ICE existed, which is a world we can absolutely imagine, because the world of Clinton, where he deported 12 million illegal immigrants, was a fine world. We also had a balanced budget, and we also were doing much better in a lot of ways. Crime was high, but the crime bill got rid of that too. So,
largely speaking, yeah, but I was always arguing we should radically defund how much the ERO functions. Like I would say, let's get back to where ICE was during Obama. And I don't understand the difference between that and the way that ICE functioned under Clinton, which was not at all.
Here's
those duties were still being accomplished by someone.
Here's my problem, though, is I don't think we can. I don't think we can go back to ICE, how it functioned under Obama at this point. I think it's been too well poisoned in the public's mind. I think that ICE has become a slur among a lot of people, and for good reason. And ICE has lost the trust of the American public. And I think that we can't, once you lose that trust, it's really hard to gain it back. So instead of gaining it back under the same kind of packaging, we need something new. We need something different so that trust can be reset. Because I think that one of the problems that we're having is I'm for deporting illegal immigrants, right? Even ones who haven't really
Yeah.
committed any crimes. I think it's okay to deport them. But what ICE has done in the way that it's acted, in the way that it's executed its duties, has been to break our Constitution, to break our laws, to violate
I
civil
fully
rights.
agree.
And because of that, right? Because of that, my civil rights are more important than catching an illegal immigrant. And I would sacrifice catching an illegal immigrant if it meant protecting my civil rights. And I think that's where we
Fully.
need to kind of strike, right?
Fully. But I 100% agree. But this aesthetic distinction feels completely uninteresting. I don't know if you understand, like, I don't know, like, I hear what you're saying, that that's just what the people want, so we should just say, "All right, let's just abolish ICE and then just fucking shift it over to another agency." But, like, do you not understand what I'm saying? That, like, it feels a little bit dishonest, and I wish that we could have a little bit more of an honest conversation
don't get
about
the
what
dishonest
specifically
part.
we're doing with ICE's functions.
I don't
I'm
get the
saying
dishonest
you're
part. I
telling
don't.
you're saying okay. You're saying let's abolish ICE,
Yes.
and then no one and don't ask questions, but we're just going to shift everything that ICE does into the DHS.
You can ask questions, and I don't want to shift it into DHS. I want to shift it to the INS, which was a
Where would
different
you shift
organization.
it? Okay, sure.
I think the
Whatever.
DHS is poisoned in a lot of ways. I understand the DHS
you
does
don't
some
want to
things that we
abolish the
can't abolish,
DHS.
unfortunately.
Right.
But there's other factors in play, unfortunately. But for ICE specifically, we can abolish that, and we should abolish that.
Yeah, but you're not doing anything.
Yeah, of
Like,
course we
there's
are.
no
We're restoring
difference
the
between-
trust
Hold on,
in the American
hold on.
public. We're showing the American public that if an institution
understand.
violates your Constitution, that institution will cease to exist.
Sure. I'm fine with
You
this
laugh,
argument.
but why is that dishonest?
I'm fine with this argument. I'm fine for abolishing ICE, and I think I've said explicitly I'm fine for abolishing ICE. Sorry, I know I've said I'm fine with abolishing ICE as long as those two key things that ICE does get shifted onto another agency. I've said that multiple times.
Yes, and
but I don't find it.
No one serious is advocating for doing away with that.
Sure, maybe.
But
maybe I would bet that fucking
the
Nina
argument
Turner
I'm
over there
having with you right
is just-
now is you
is
accuse
just an
me.
aesthetic one.
You accuse people for abolishing ICE. You say that that's a pretty dishonest or a little bit dishonest. It's not.
I'm saying you have to recognize that because you are dressing these in two different ways, that people will get a different idea of the exact functional similar, like they are functionally exactly the same. My suggestion and your suggestion. They are functionally identical, but they are dressed differently.
They are not functionally identical.
Yes, they are.
The problem with ICE is that it is going past those core functions and executing them in ways that are violating the Constitution.
And I'm against those. I'm saying we should radically...
we cannot simply change the policies back. The rot is too deep. We need to remove the limb.
Here's what I would say. Genuine, and this is a genuine opinion of mine. Let's look at the FBI in the 1960s, okay, under J. Edgar Hoover. That fucking institution was so fucked. That place was rotten to the core, okay? And all we did was just change who lived in that facility. It is now full of people who don't like J. Edgar, or maybe they do, but it is a radically different institution than the one that existed in the 1960s. And I think what I'm specifically saying is, I don't really care if they stop calling it FBI and they start calling it the IBF or whatever. You know, you just shift around the letters a little bit and you're like, look, it's a new agency, but it's still, all I care about is that those people no longer work there. All I really care about is that they are doing different things. I don't care about the label. So when I look at the ways that the FBI has changed, I wouldn't say we have to uproot the whole system and change FBI, because largely speaking, they did change. They changed their entire route and they kept the name.
I think
that's cool to me.
But you understand that because the FBI operated so lawlessly under J. Edgar Hoover, that the trust in that institution, even today, is much weaker than it would have been and should be, right? If they had
Maybe.
done what I suggest.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know if I really care because my personal. Okay, I hear.
I
I
know
hear
you
your
don't
argument.
care.
I hear your
I
argument,
get it.
and it's a good argument. It's
I
a good
care.
argument, Wick. It's a good argument. It's a good argument, and I think I agree with you. I rarely think of it in that perspective because personally, I don't think you should care. I think it's bad to care about these labels.
Look,
But
I don't think women
I
should
think
care.
it's a good
Look,
argument.
I don't think women
that
should
people
care
do.
about my age or height. And yet, we live in a world in which they do.
I hear
okay?
you.
I don't think
said
that
you made a
women
good
should care
argument.
about my income. And yet we
I
live in
said
a
you're making a
world
good
in
argument.
which they do. So we must operate in the world which exists rather than the world where, yes, I wished all the hot supermodels, right, didn't care about my looks and could just see me for me, right? That would be nice. It would be precious. I would love it. But we don't operate in that world, buddy. We don't
understand
live
what
in that
you're
world.
fucking
So we
saying. I
must
understand what
make
you're saying.
concessions to reality that we may
understand
not
what you're
care
saying.
about, but they're important.
Why are you scolding me? I agree.
For the optics. My listening library for $5
True.
says, not dishonest. The ethos is what we want to abolish. I like you, Hunter,
understand.
but your perspective on this needs to be shifted. No more supers. $5, gang out. Well, wow. To be clear, that's misinformation. Super chats are still open. You can still super chat me. But thank you for the $5,
Wait.
my listening library.
How could they lie? We just said that on the internet. We just said that in a super chat.
I know, it's crazy. But I do appreciate
I agree with you. I agree with you, and I think that optics matter sometimes more than I want to talk about. Because usually when I get in debates, I don't really fucking care about the optics. And obviously, I'm a political pundit on the internet. I should probably care a little bit about how my arguments come across and dressing them up a little bit differently. And I do, even though I'm saying this, like, I understand this is a bias I have, but even when I'm providing arguments, I'm like, oh, I should provide them in a way that is a little bit more like people can understand a little bit more, or people can appeal. Like it, I understand appealing to the masses. I get it. It makes sense. It's a bias that I have because I don't fucking care.
Fair enough. We got about 15 minutes left, so if anyone want to call in and talk to me or Hunter, now's your chance. So just jump backstage and we can pull you in.
Cool.
I don't got much anything else for you. Do you have anything else for me?
Me? No, just that you're shit lib.
I am a liberal. That's true.
I know, me too.
That's correct. I am a hard R liberal, to be clear. Okay.
That's good.
With the hard R.
I don't know. You got any debates coming up?
I do.
What are you talking about?
So tomorrow we're gonna be having on Doobie and Prime, Kai, and we're gonna have Kalinda and Usurped Chef to talk about whether or not the far left is a net negative or a net positive for the Democratic coalition. Ooh.
Obviously, Prime and Doobie are saying they're good for the Democrats. Are the other side libs or are they conservatives?
They're libs. Everyone there is a little to the left to some degree. Okay.
Cool.
And that should be fun.
I would love to. I would obviously take the perspective that I don't know if you saw Hassan recently say that he would vote third party if it's Newsom versus Vance.
That's what brought this debate to.
But god damn it, that really pissed me off. And everyone's like, "Well, I don't think you should lock yourself into one political candidate." That wasn't the fucking hypothetical. The hypothetical is you're living in a world in which Newsom is the Democratic candidate. Do you say I will vote for you over JD Vance? No, actually, I think that I don't. Whatever.
Okay.
We're
gonna have a debate about it tomorrow. Tune in 6 p.m. on Friday.
Yeah.
On Friday, we're gonna have Destiny on, and we're gonna be talking about. We're gonna have some people to debate them. And Dev's gonna be there too, right? So it's Dev and Destiny versus two people who I'm getting still. I still need one more. So if you're out there and you disagree with this prompt, let me know and we'll bring you on.
Mm.
Donald Trump is the greatest threat to free speech that we've seen in a generation. That's the prompt. So if you disagree with that and you want to come on and argue with Destiny and Dev, we have one more slot open for you.
How much is a generation? Like 20 years?
Basically my lifetime is what I'm talking about, right? Since Reagan, right?
Oh, since Reagan?
Reagan era onward of politics. And we're only talking about the American context. So Putin,
totally, obviously,
Xi Jinping, right?
Right. Obviously that there are bigger threats than Donald Trump to free speech.
Yeah, but
Xi is a good example.
Yeah,
for sure. American context.
About the American context, so.
Totally. I don't know about Reagan. I'd have to look at him, but obviously I would agree with that.
We got a caller.
Largely speaking. Hello,
caller.
Hello, Mr. Puffin Masta.
Puffin Masta, hello, it is me, the best boy. So I think, Hunter, I think part of the problem is that you don't, because it seems like you're saying it would be effectively the same if we abolish ICE and just offloaded their stuff to other people, right?
Yeah.
So, two things. I think that you're overstating the bad that just the raw policies are. I think you're like overstating like how bad it is to just like deport people that need to be deported. And then I think you're also like undermining like how bad the institutional issues of ICE specifically is. Right.
Okay. One at a time. So we'll go through the first one.
Sure.
When we talk about like an illegal immigrant violently assaults someone and a judge orders mandatory expulsion, you think that I'm overstating how important that is to deport them? Because that's ICE's current function. One of ICE's current functions.
I think you're understating the value of that.
I don't think it's the most important thing in our country, but I'm glad the government does it, and I wish that an agency would do that. You would say so. You would say that's not an important function. It's fine if that doesn't happen.
No, I would say it's good that happens, and that it's not a problem to offload that to another agency, right?
Like I'm saying, I have no issue offloading it to another agency.
Okay,
I'm just saying that's the exact same thing as just defunding it, such that that's the only thing ICE does. Those are functionally the same.
The issue with ICE is not just that they're doing that. The issue with ICE is that like every rung of the ladder is fucked, right? So like when you have,
go for it. Sorry. No, you were going to give an example.
You have, like the hiring people, like no background checks, just throwing money at people, like going after goons, right? That's fucked. Like we need to stop that 100%. Immediately.
Why don't we just stop that though? You know what I'm saying? Because, like, why can't
because like the people, like the institution that is ICE has done it, and we need to say no, get fucked, get the fuck out of here. Like there needs to be like a certain amount of retribution of like this entire structure is cooked. Like it's not enough to tell you to stop. We need to like you're done, right?
I feel like I would certainly say fire those people who've engaged in who have not been like, let's give background checks to everyone who hasn't been given background checks. If something comes up, let's throw them out of ICE. If you've supported and if you've engaged in any sort of violent activity while in ICE, you should be fired immediately and possibly prosecuted. I'm in favor of prosecutions as well. To me, I don't understand this obsession with we have to abolish ICE, else those people will not be moved. We can just move them. Well, I don't even understand
because there's a lot of like institutional inertia where like if you start sniffing around trying to find like the bad actors, you're going to get a lot of passive resistance from the people in the job that just don't want anything to change, and you're going to get a lot of just like nepotism and people.
Well, and if we have to fully like restaff the entirety of ICE, I'm all for it.
If we had to fire everybody at ICE and then re-staff ICE, wouldn't it be easier to just abolish it?
Those are the same exact thing. We have to restaff them anyway. That's all I'm saying. if we restaff all of ICE and we abolish ICE and just shift it to another agency, those are the same fucking thing. It's the exact same thing. And I'm in favor of both of them, by the way. I don't care which one we choose.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you think that the bureaucracy behind the two things are interchangeable, right?
I think that we can shift the bureaucracy. I don't think it comes contingent on the label that we use to label the bureaucracy. I don't think just because it says ICE on the top of the building that means that the institution is fucked underneath it. If we change that label to DHS instead, or to wherever we're going to shift that to, I don't know which agency specifically we would shift the functions to. I don't know where it was pre 2003. I don't think that matters. I agree with Wick's perception argument. I think that that's enough of an argument to fully shift me over. But if you're saying there's a functional difference, that's where I'm like, come on, what functional difference is there? There's an aesthetic one, certainly.
Why do you think that it would be like we would just basically like tear the name off the building and put another name on there? Why do you think that would be the way that this works?
I'm not saying that that's the way that it works. I'm saying if anything that you can do by shifting it to another agency is the same thing that you can do by just retooling how that agency functions.
Okay, so
if you name one thing that here's the question that I have for you. Name one thing that we can only change by shifting it from the DHS from ICE to the DHS that we couldn't do by keeping it under ICE.
I don't think I can name one thing we couldn't do.
That's my point.
Okay, so I think
housekeeping. We only got like 5 more minutes before I'm gonna end out. So
word.
Okay. Yeah, so there is I think it is just easier to just tear the whole thing down and start over, or tear the whole thing down and give the duties to another group. And I'll let the other guy talk if he wants to.
Just real quick. Also, I will go longer. Hunter can go if he wants, but I will stream longer if you guys give me.
I'll stream longer
$50
I got nothing to do.
$50 in the next 5 minutes. $50 in the next 5 minutes, and we'll keep going.
Where'd he go?
He
was
does
threatened
the whole
by my aura.
join voice thing.
Right.
People always do it. Yeah, go ahead, please.
I mean, if you abolish ICE, essentially you can just get rid of everybody. If you keep ICE around and then just want to replace people, you have to come up with a reason for getting rid of everyone. Every single person that you fire, you have to go through reports. It will take months to get a few people fired. If you just abolish it, it's like a company goes under, oops, everyone's gone, and then you can start hiring who you want.
Okay, I don't know if that's the case. I don't know if you necessarily. Okay, I'll concede the point. I'll see the point that
with a government job, that's how. I know most places are like
okay,
at
that's
fault,
fair.
but with a government job, you do need that.
That's a super fair argument. What if there are a distinct amount of people in ICE that we want to retain? We would just rehire them, is what you're saying?
Correct.
Cool. Then if it takes less administrative burden, let's do that.
We got him, boys.
But do you have an issue? Wait, hold on. Do you have an issue with us? What if we do this? I'm curious. What if we do this? We fully abolish ICE, okay? We tear down everyone. And then there's a new bill or executive order. And we go, we're going to come up with a new agency. And that agency is going to be called Immigrations and Custom Enforcement. And it's just called ICE. And then we just keep the same. We rehire the people that we want. And then we hire all these new people. Do you think that there is any function? Do you think that would be fine?
Well, the problem is because ICE, the way it functions now, if you commit a crime, you're not held accountable. And that's apparently part of their policy now. So you also have to change it. If you want to do that,
we fully abolish them, and under the new agency, we go through real hiring practices. We do background checks. We check what the hell they were doing at ICE before. We look at all of the reports they were doing, and if there is a hint of violence, we don't hire them back.
I mean, that's fine.
Okay,
that's
so
essentially the
that's
same
what
thing
I'm
that I just
saying.
said.
We still have ice. It's just under a different label, and there's no functional difference between what the hell just happened.
So
Well, I mean, what
That's
makes
all
a
I'm saying.
company? Let's just say this is a business. What makes a business? Is it not the people that are working there? So if you get rid of half of those people, you've effectively changed the entire thing.
I fully agree, which is why I think that we should radically change who works at ICE. I've
Why do you
said this
think
a few times.
why do you think Twitter changed its name to X?
Because Elon Musk is retarded.
Why do you think that
Yeah, that
Facebook
was
changed
really
its name to
stupid.
Meta?
He is a moron.
Why
That's
do you
why.
think that? Oh, hold on, I disagree. Not that he's a
Oh.
moron, but that changing
Elon
his
Musk
name,
is not a moron, says
hold
Wick,
on.
clipped.
I'm not saying that he's not dumb. I'm saying that companies, and they do this constantly, will change their name, even if they change very little else about the company, for a very specific reason, branding. And I think that ICE, if we get a new organization, we rebrand it. Why would we call it ICE again? That would be stupid.
I'm saying, Wick, your aesthetic argument is a convincing one, and enough for me to say we should just abolish ICE and then put it under the DHS. That's a fair
My
argument.
problem,
But the new guy, what is his name? It is D.
Dan
It just
Bana.
says D. Dan Bana. Dan Bana is saying that there is a functional distinction between this. And I'm saying horse shit. No, there is not. So you going back into the aesthetic one, I agree with your point, but I also think that that was not Mr. Dan Bana's argument. So I frankly reject your argument, Wick, even though I love you.
Well, that's
Hey,
okay.
the other thing is if we abolish
everyone
ICE,
else. I think I have.
if
But
we
gang, we
abolish
only got
ICE,
like
we have
just,
to make sure we.
just real quick. I haven't gotten the money. You guys didn't pay me, so we're going to end the stream. I love you all.
Sad day.
I know. I mean, there's
Can
still
I do a
time.
quick?
If by the time I'm done with my closing and stuff, you guys pay me, I'll just keep going. But so what do we got coming up? So first of all, if you enjoyed the stream, if you like the debate, if you like the after show, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It really helps out the algorithm. Leave a comment on the channel. That's always helpful. If you are watching this on Twitch, hit that follow button. Does the same thing. Really helps me out. Tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern, we're going to
They're functionally identical.
The far left. Twitch and YouTube are not virtually identical. If you are interested in the debate on free speech, that's going to be Friday. Next week, I'm going to the March for Democracy. And I'll be live streaming that in DC. So please tune into that one because I'm trying something very different and I want people to watch that one. Not that
Can we get a based in
all my shows, but yeah.
Can we get a based as fuck in chat?
Based AF. Okay. That said.
All right. I love you, Wick.
We'll see you guys later. Wait, bye everyone.
I'm sorry that I didn't live up to your dreams.
You all,
It's a long
you know
day,
what?
Bowden.
You did about as good as I expected.
Whoa,
I'll talk
that
to you
is
guys
so
later.
much worse.